These two suburban houses are identical. At the exact same moment, both are being burglarized, but their outcomes will look nothing alike. In Neighborhood A, residents see the break-in and act. They call the police, flip on porch lights, and give the dispatcher clear descriptions. They are ready to serve as witnesses. In Neighborhood B, residents see the same crime and stay silent. They pull the blinds and avoid the phone. Distrust or fear keeps them from engaging with the authorities at all. These two neighborhoods start with the same crime and the same laws. The divergence happens because justice depends on the invisible relationship between the community and the state. We often picture the justice system as an external force, police patrolling a community, courts judging it, and corrections confining it. This traditional view sees the system as a set of institutions acting upon a passive public. This creates a mental image of an assembly line where cases move mechanically from arrest to conviction to punishment. But this is a broken model. A mechanical system cannot explain Neighborhood B's silence. When a community withdraws, the assembly line stops. Without witnesses and reports, the formal institutions have nothing to process. The justice system and the community function as partners in a single relationship. Public safety is a co-authored effort, and the quality of that relationship determines if the law is obeyed willingly or only under threat. To build a partnership, justice agencies have to define their partner. In any one jurisdiction, community exists in three overlapping layers. The first layer is geography, residents sharing physical space. Inside is identity, groups sharing ethnicity, religion, or language, regardless of location. The third is interest, uniting people around a shared stake, like parents or business owners.
A single patrol division serves all three layers at once. The business owners worry about shoplifting, while immigrant families might worry about being treated fairly when they report a crime. An agency that only listens to one group, like a homeowners association, fails to serve the genuine diversity of the whole area. Justice requires a response tailored to each of these overlapping communities. Why does a community grant the government the power to arrest and punish its own members? Social contract theory suggests that we willingly accept limits on our liberty in exchange for security. We authorize the state to resolve disputes and protect our rights so we don't descend into private vengeance. This means the justice system exercises authority lent to it by the governed. It owes the community fairness and accountability in return for that power. This leads to the concept of legitimacy. Authority is legitimate when the public believes the system is fair and deserves to be obeyed. This is different from raw legal power. A system can use force to make people comply, but obedience based on fear is unstable. Legitimacy produces voluntary cooperation, which is far more effective. Legitimacy is the currency that buys cooperation. A system that loses its legitimacy cannot simply arrest its way back to safety because it has destroyed the very trust it needs to function. In reality, the justice system is a network of three loosely coupled institutions: law enforcement, the courts, and corrections. These components do not always work in perfect coordination. A prosecutor might decline to charge a case after an arrest, or a parole board might release someone a judge sentenced to a long term. The human element that connects these parts and allows the system to function is discretion. Discretion is the authority to choose among lawful courses of action. At every stage, a human being makes a judgment call. Two people committing the same act may receive different outcomes. One might be warned while another is arrested. This is where the community-justice relationship becomes concrete. Every discretionary decision is an opportunity to either build or erode the public's trust. We also have to ask where our criminal laws come from and whose interests they serve. The consensus model holds that laws reflect the shared values of a society. Under this view, prohibitions against violence express a moral agreement that nearly everyone accepts. The conflict model suggests that laws reflect the interests of powerful groups, targeting marginalized communities while protecting the influential. Understanding both models helps explain why a community might agree with a law in the abstract, but feel deep resentment over how that law is actually enforced in their neighborhood. Research shows that neighborhood safety is predicted most strongly by a factor called collective efficacy.
This is the combination of social cohesion among neighbors and their shared willingness to intervene for the common good. This creates informal social control. When neighbors watch each other's children or address minor disorder themselves, they regulate behavior without involving the formal justice system at all. Most public order is produced by these everyday actions. The formal justice system only steps in when this informal social control fails. If police use heavy-handed or unfair tactics, they damage the community's internal cohesion. They undermine the very collective efficacy that keeps a neighborhood safe in the first place. Public safety is a co-produced relationship. The system and the community create it together. The justice system can compel a small number of people some of the time, but it depends on the voluntary cooperation of the majority of people most of the time. If a community withdraws that cooperation, refusing to report crimes or serve as witnesses, the entire system is quickly overwhelmed. It was never built to operate by force alone against an unwilling public. Because the system relies on this partnership, measuring success by arrest counts and citations is misleading. An agency can increase its enforcement numbers, while the relationship that makes safety possible quietly erodes. A healthy justice system must track trust, fairness, and cooperation as carefully as it tracks the crime rate. We have examined the different layers of community identity and how they overlap within the same city block. We explored the source of legal authority in the social contract and why earned legitimacy is the only stable way to ensure cooperation. Finally, we looked at the human discretion that drives our loosely coupled institutions and the collective efficacy that forms the true foundation of safety. Now, consider your first reflection assignment. In your own words, explain what it means to say that public safety is co-produced. As you think about your answer, look for one example of informal social control in your own neighborhood. You are already a participant in the community justice relationship. Whether you wear a badge or cast a vote, this system belongs to you.